It's clever from Donnarumma.
Donnarumma's he's gonna have to be so quick off his line. Anytime that Salah's leading the line, and second he sees Roma going for that ball over the top, has to spring out as he just did there.
Suso. Smart pass to find Mati Fernandez to Shilia. Cross is deflected off of the backside of Juan Jesus.
Donnarumma's gonna have to be so quick off his line. Anytime that Salah's leading the line, and second he sees Roma going for that ball over the top, has to spring out as he just did there.
Chested down by Dzeko. Milan. Suso. Smart pass to find Mati Fernandez to Shilia. Crosses deflected. Transition into attack for Roma allows Milan to get back into their defensive shape.
Suso to be so close off his line. Anytime that Salah's leading the line, and second he sees Roma going for that ball over the top, has to spring out as he just did there.
Chested down by Dzeko. Nice touch by De Shilia. Corner kick from Milan.
This is where Roma can really show their strength as well in the air. They have Dzeko, Fazio, Manolas. Those aerial threats to aim at.
Transition to actually only 3 half goals in the season into their defensive shape. Well, you would expect that in Dzeko to get that by himself. So Paredes.
And it's Edin Dzeko with his second. A double dip from the Bosnian bomber. Milan 0, Roma 2.
That corner whipped in with so much pace from Paredes. Didn't give Donnarumma the opportunity to come out and get a punch onto it. Really close to him though, and it just flashes from Dzeko there. He's holding off the defender like he's not even there. Right there. There's the Shio.
You would expect that in Dzeko to get that by himself.
Lappadula's got no chance. Don't think Donnarumma even sees that ball.
So Paredes.
Just flailing his arms in the air. There's the aerial prowess from Edin Dzeko. Look at that. He's holding down Lappadula. Zapata from behind. The Shio on his side.
And the new career high, 37 goals in all competitions for Edin Dzeko. He's 27th in Serie A. Just when Milan were seemingly at their best.
Yeah, they've created chances. That corner whipped it.
Denied by Zapata.
Opportunity to come out and get a punch onto it.
To touch for Milan.
Dzeko there, he's holding off the defender like he's not even there. Been unstoppable
right there.
this season, Edin Dzeko. So good in the air with his feet. His ability in the white color. Truly the complete striker.
Back for Paletta.
Don't think Donnarumma even sees that ball.
Mati Fernandez.
Prowess from Edin Dzeko. Look at that, he's holding down.
He's anticipating well. Perotti came off the bench to replace El Shaarawy. Derby last week.
If there is promising news for Milan, it is that they've played some of their best football from behind this season.
Waiting for the opening to find Suso. Ante Deulofeu. To Serie A. Fernandez. De Shilia. Sosa.
They've created chances.
Pass not on target. Dzeko. Not able to win it off of Suso. Switches on if Suso can spot Bangioni. Instead, it's Deulofeu from the edge of the area. Blocked by Manolas. Sosa pass for Bangioni. Deulofeu, edge of the area. He's speedy. Costas Manolas. Loses the angle. Corner kick for Milan. Touch for Milan. They're fourth.
I think Milan need to find a way to get Suso closer to goal. When he's so wide, he doesn't have the opportunity to really test the goalkeeper with his left foot. Turns more into a natural winger who he just looks for the cross in, but I don't think that's the way forward for Milan. Papadoulou's not going to win too many aerial balls against Manolas and Fazio.
Into the 6-yard box, but over the head of Zapata. And it's Chesney not able to reach it.
Yeah, so dangerous. Uncharacteristic there from Szczesny. Comes down and he completely whiffs on this one. Maybe the slightest touch. Just misjudging that ball.
And from that to replay, glove of the Polish goalkeeper. Dzeko. Gioni. Donnarumma can only blast it away. Headed down by Manolas. De Rossi. Offside against Milan. It's been a dizzying first half. Papadoulou was offside. Perotti. Bamboozles De Sciglio. Good recovery from the Milan captain in another corner kick for Roma. Same side as the previous goal.
Done so well, Perotti. So quick and incisive in his movements.
This even low down for Daniele De Rossi. It's on target from Rajan Angolan, but blocked in front of Donnarumma. Straight out of the training ground from the Giallorossi. Salah lays it down for Perotti, making inroads. Perotti on the side of the net.
Such a confident touch. Salah, the back heel, gets to the ball before Zapata. How many times has his pace just in this game decided the outcome?
Dangioni. Just look at Roma's defensive shape. 2 lines of 4, and Milan are in possession. Cleared, but into the area. Fazio was there. Mati Fernandez knocks it down. This is Suso, taken away by Juan Jesus.
Seems like there's no way forward. Once they get to the final third, well, Milan are well to settle for is a shot from distance.
They have tested Szczesny from distance, but he passed that test. Perotti. On Jesus. De Rossi. Sent away by Federico Fazio. Poor header from Paletta. And it stays in play for Perotti. Showed a lot of the ball to Suso.
Oh, this is definitely not the Roma we saw last week against Lazio or in the Europa League against Lyon. Definitely the kind of football they're capable of. Dominant, physical, technical.
Suso gaining ground, but his path impeded by De Rossi. Was well defined Mario Pasalic. Pasalic from the edge of the area. Deflected by Manolas, who goes to ground, gives up a corner.
Again, all that's being afforded to Milan, shots from distance. I think they'll be pretty happy conceding those.
They will fail. Not the best of corners from the Spaniard.
No.
You have to go back to May of 2015, the last time that Milan were able to beat Roma. Both goals scored by Milan loanees. It was Marco Van Henkel, who was a Chelsea loanee at the time. The other by Mattia Destro, who was on loan from Roma and scored the winner against his parent club. There was also a late Totti penalty in that one to half the deficit for the Giallorossi. That was the only win in the last 9 for Milan against the capital club. They have an uphill battle today at home. Santi Fernandez leans on Paletta. Zapata. Constant movement from Lapadula at the point of the attack. Leaping over the challenge from Paredes, and it's one back via Dzeko. Putting the space for Perotti.
Good ball.
Switch for Salah at the top of the 18, working against Zapata. Going for goal himself, but it doesn't bend enough.
And Dzeko again wanted the ball being played to him. He's so much confidence right now, but there's a shot that Salah will fancy, cutting inside on his favored left foot. Nice switch from Perotti. How good has he been today? He's getting the best of the Shio, constantly able to find space against him, beating him in those one-on-one situations. And there's the luxury of having a player with the speed of Salah. He could get to those balls before anyone else. And it was that ball that he won back, beating Deulofeu to it, that led to the first goal from Dzeko.
Michilio ends it in for Lapadula, who's closely marked by Manolas. Nainggolan. What a ball from Raja Nainggolan. Salah in space, closed down by Zapata. The switch is on if he can find him. It's Raja Nainggolan! And it's off the post once more. Blasted over by Salah.
Chicho got a touch on it again. This is another ball that I think should have gone in for Roma had it not been for the wonders of Donnarumma. If they have any fighting chance, it's because of this man. But look at the near side of your screen. Edin Dzeko unmarked. Right there. Instead, he goes for the shorter option, and I think Donnarumma got the slightest touch again. Here's the best look at it. Oh, he pushed it off the post again. That's twice that Donnarumma's been able to pull off an absolutely miraculous save. The first against Perotti, and there another beautifully angled shot from Nainggolan, bottom corner. Should have been 4-0.
Milan under new ownership, and priority number one, an extension for the teenager. He'll be out of contract in 2018 as things stand. Michilio, it's a good ball to switch for the Milan captain, who's taken down by Roma's captain, De Rossi. Nothing in it. At least not in the view of Rizzoli. Dzeko. He's whistled for the foul against Jose Sosa. The earlier contact between De Rossi and Michilio. Delivered by Sosa. It's there for Pasalic. Manolas reacted quickly.
Yeah, Manolas sacrificing his body, doing just enough, or else that shot was probably going to be in between the pipes from Pasalic. See, when they get forward, there's no real plan B. Milan don't know how to break into the box. The cross in, it's not going to work. Lapadula against those two towers. And right now, Roma, 2-goal advantage. Very happy to settle into this 4-5-1 shape.
And break out on the counter with Salah. Suso. Double team on the near side. Sosa losing his footing. Raja Nainggolan applying the pressure, and it's Nainggolan on the break. Out. It's 4 against 2. Paletta trying to close the angle. Leaving the space for Perotti. And the already big Donnarumma making himself bigger.
Might have been a foul on Sosa. Complaining of a pullback from Nainggolan. That's why it's so dangerous to have Nainggolan being one of the furthest forward in the midfield. He can win the ball back in those positions, leads to a counter, oftentimes to a short field. Influence the game in so many different ways. It's essentially all the qualities of a player like Gattuso, but with much better feet, especially going forward. 10 goals on the season for Raja Nainggolan.
Paletta to find Deulofeu, working against Emerson. Pancioni arriving. It's a blind cross into the middle, looking for Lapadula. De Rossi clears the danger, but a corner kick for Milan.
Let's see if Deulofeu can actually keep it on the pitch. This time he sorted out. Absolutely inexcusable.
Sixth corner for Milan. Softer touch this time. Nearly falls for Paletta. It was Paredes who was there to deal with it. I thought it was Manolas who got it away. The foul whistled against Suso as Perotti is down. Was he tripped up? Or was he struck in the face?
Arm goes up. Yeah, the elbow just
cheek.
Rakes him across the cheek. It's been so tricky today, Perotti. Been able to beat his man time and time again.
Just a free kick then. Fazio. Manolas. Emerson. Threads it through for Raja Nainggolan. Gets around his marker. Nainggolan could not bend it in. Zapata to build from the back. Make that Paletta. By Mati Fernandez, Vangioni down the line. Deulofeu trying to get there, won't. Throwing for Roma. It's a very promising left back in his early years. With Vangioni out of the Mules youth system, joining Milan from River Plate, was expected to be the future left back of the Argentina national team, but hasn't worked out in his favor. Salah. Plenty of space as he runs at Vangioni. Nainggolan. Chipped in for Diego Perotti, who apparently was onside. The flag stayed down. And Montella is wondering how. And he faced Sciglio, able to head it away. Paredes taking his time. "16 shots in this first half from Roma. 6 on target. Some wonderful saves from Milan. Young goalkeeper Donnarumma. Paredes delivers into the 6 once more. It's parried away, volleyball style from Donnarumma. De Rossi. Paredes. Perotti. Swung in by Paredes and Paletta. Here to deny Fazio. Corner kick from the far side. Roma's fourth. Dzeko the organizer.
Manhandling 3 Milan defenders, so much bigger than everyone around him. And there, Donnarumma, not much you can do. And look at this counterattack here. Beautiful ball outside of the boot from Nainggolan. Dzeko at the far post. It's into Nainggolan. This save from Donnarumma is spectacular. And it was the second fingertip save that he pushed off the post. Tremendous goal here from Nainggolan. Gets the ball back. Plenty of space in front of him. That shot should have gone in against most of the goalkeepers. Spectacular. And it was
keeping Milan in the contest. 2-0 to Roma. Those first half set highlights presented by Cricket Wireless.
Spectacular.
Attention, we, the faculty between us and the entertainment loving people of America, have updated our terms and conditions. 1. From now on, your television will no longer be
be defined as that thing over there on the wall. We want all our things to be television things. Phones, iPads, refrigerators, heart monitors. Okay, maybe not heart monitors. 2, our shows and movies, we want them when we want them. So they should go with us.
Anywhere?
You got that right, kid show thing. 3,
Nothing beats live. So we want to stream all that sweet live stuff. Like football.
red carpets, and yelling. Wait, what are we yelling about, guys? 4, we don't just want unlimited data, we want unlimited entertainment, like unlimited HBO.
Can I stop dying now, Mark?
Come on, man, it's unlimited. Last thing, we just want all our stuff the way we want all our stuff. That's not too much to ask, is it?
Only AT&T brings you entertainment on your terms. DirecTV Wireless Internet. It's entertainment your way.
From the day I arrived, I wanted to see this great country. My last wish is for you to do it for me as a family. Love, Grandpa.
Let us be lovers, we'll marry our fortunes together.
We all right? I know.
How did you meet Grandpa? Actually, on a blind date. I wish he was on the trip with us.
He's sitting right between the boys in the back of the car.
Life's as big as you make it. The all-new 7-seater Volkswagen Atlas. With America's best bumper-to-bumper limited warranty.
To kill that one in. Oh, fantastic. What a hit.
Kind of spacing any kind of goal-scoring opportunity.
Here's Luis Suarez. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. Great finish.
A new era in racing is here, where gas is no longer linked to high-speed engines. Don't miss out on this new amazing show. Formula E. 20 all-electric racing cars lined up on the grid competing in a world-class championship. Tune in to Formula E every Tuesday on beIN Sports.
On the Locker Room, the beautiful game is our obsession and no topic is off the table. Each week we discuss and debate the biggest stories from the football world, the top leagues, the top tournaments and World Cup qualification. Sometimes it's in good humour, sometimes it gets very heated and sometimes it's hard to even get a word in. But at all times we're brought together by the game we love. So be sure to join us on the Locker Room Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays on beIN Sports.
Welcome back to the Express halftime. It's Milan 0, Roma 2. The brace by Edin Dzeko, who is alone at the top of the Capocannoniere standings with now 27 goals on the season. Let's take a look at the opening goal as Vangioni's chesting this down, trying to get it over to Deulofeu, Matteo.
Absolutely, and there just doesn't get maybe enough on it. Deulofeu can't get to it enough, and there's the pace of Salah. Here Zapata switching off to Salah, who's about to make the run into spaces. Vangioni's far behind the action. And Dzeko, look at the separation between him and Paletta. Maybe Paletta's anticipating that Salah's going to go to the outside and take on Zapata, and he doesn't close down Dzeko in time. Either way, it's a beautiful finish. First time into the top corner. Couldn't have struck it any better.
Added a second moments later. It's 2-0 Roma. Both to Dzeko.
End of civilization is upon us. Hold your loved ones close.
It's now or never. Come hold me tight. Kiss me, my darling. Tonight. Tomorrow. It's now or never.
Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? No, sir, no, sir. Some nincompoop stole all my wool sweaters, smart TV, and gaming system. Luckily, the Geico Insurance Agency recently helped Baba with renter's insurance. Everything stolen was replaced. and the hooligan who lives down the lane was caught selling the stolen goods online. Visit geico.com and see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
beIN Sports brings you one of the best mixed martial arts championships. Get in the cage with us. Hard Knocks Fighting Championship is here on beIN Sports.
He's the best coach of all time. He passes Paul Bear Bryant.
Yeah, you're right.
This is Adam. He's 24 and listens to sports radio a lot.
But let's give a little bit of credit to Urban Meyer.
After his 5th Super Bowl win, he surpasses Jerry Rice and Jim Brown as the greatest football player of all time. I'm a Kawhi Leonard guy. I know he's not flashy, but he takes care of his business.
Surely Kawhi Leonard is the most underrated player in the NBA.
I think Curry's the most underrated player.
I think Curry is because he's on the best team of the NBA. He had more than 400 three-pointers last year, and all I hear about is Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
I'm going with 2 other guys, Jabril Peppers and O.J. Howard.
Yeah, you got to go with the quarterback, though. Anybody that can throw for 400 yards on a Nick Saban defense.
Not in this draft, Robin.
I'm with you on Jabril Peppers, but is he a linebacker? Is he a cornerback?
Cubs are not repeating this year. Indians got the clearest path in their division, and I'm a Red Sox guy with Chris Sale. So you think about the big dogs in the industry, we're now part of it.
You hear them every day. Now watch them on air. The Sean Salisbury Show is now on beIN Sports.
The Express halftime rolls on as Milan trail Roma 2-0. Roma, as it stands, climbing back into second place. They need all 3 points from this one to overtake Napoli back into that second place spot and earn an automatic spot in next season's Champions League group stage. beINSports.com, the website. You can stream live matches via beIN Sports Connect. Follow along on beIN Sports USA. Use the hashtag beIN Serie A. Second half fast approaching. Stay with us.
This Serie A match was brought to you in part by Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about.
¿Cómo te conviertes en la marca más vendida en el país? Los hacemos para alertar.
Sorry.
Los hacemos para intuir lo que viene.
Mira, mira, mira. Ah, chill, estoy chill.
Los hacemos para adolescentes. Y sus padres que se preocupan. Vamos más lejos para ayudar a crear mejores conductores.
Calmado.
Así es Ford, y así es como te conviertes en la marca más vendida en el país.
With a modern, state-of-the-art fleet, we work to serve our passengers. We are one of the world's most punctual airlines. Because you matter to us, Air Europa is a certified company in safety, quality, and the environment. We fly you to more than 45 destinations. Air Europa. Every detail counts.
Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry. No slipping, no sliding, no bumping.
The Corona can always finds its beach.
Get in the game with Cricket Wireless. We've got more 4G LTE coverage than T-Mobile or Sprint. And if you switch now, you can get a brand new smartphone for free with plans that start at only $30 per month. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
The change to start the second half is Vincenzo Montella goes to the bench. Andrea Bertolacci checks in as he replaces Mati Fernandez, and Milan get the second half underway. Bertolacci, the former Roma man, came over in 2015. Now lining up against his former club is the Chilean Mati Fernandez is sacrificed. Alongside Matteo Bonetti, I'm Andres Cordero. A brilliant opening half, especially for Roma, who peppered Donnarumma's goal with 17 shots. That's a season high for any club in Serie A. 4 saves from Donnarumma, keeping Milan in it, but 2 goals down. This is Deulofeu. Bertolacci's first intervention, back to Deulofeu. Barricade set up by Manolas, another corner kick from Milan. We've had plenty, this is their 7th.
Bertolacci, a player that hasn't had too much football this season. Never really lived up to the price tag from 2 seasons ago when he was brought over from Roma. Never played at Roma, was at Genoa. That's where he played some of his best football. And once upon a time at Lecce.
Sosa delivers into the 6. There was Dzeko with the defensive header. Picked up by Suso. Sosa chasing it down, won't get there. Now Bertolacci was only 17 years old when he sat on the bench for Roma's first team, but sent away to Lecce. Had 3 seasons at Genoa before coming over to Milan. Still just 25 years old, a lot of football in front. But he has failed to convince Montella to get a regular spot.
And more than anything, with Mati Fernandez's improvement after coming back from injury, it's kept Bertolacci far in the depth chart on the bench.
And Gioni does well against Salah this time. Here's Suso. As the whistle goes, Bertolacci was fouled by Emerson. The best of balls to Zapata. It's picked up by Salah, and Gioni forced to pull him back, and that will be a yellow card for a professional foul. Lack of concentration from Gabi Paletta.
And a dangerous one. He's going in with the studs up, it seems, and doesn't make any contact on Salah, who's been constant nuisance against Milan's defense, as he has for both teams. 2 great seasons for him with Roma. 27 goals the last few years with Gianluigi since joining.
Salah, who got it. Brilliant ball to find Salah. Again, working against Vangioni. The early cross dealt with by Paletta. Scilia. Trying to play it down the line for Deulofeu, but off target.
And Milan fans starting to whistle now. That was rather textbook ball up the flank. Deulofeu was in front of his marker. It's the kind of position you want to get the Spaniard in when he's running downhill. He has plenty of green in front of him.
This time off the mark for Salah.
Of course, major questions about where De Sciglio's future is. I wonder if already feels he already has a foot outside of Milanello.
Vangioni leaves it for Suso.
No, Suso and Deulofeu have swapped flanks.
Vangioni. Looping cross toward the back post, dealt with by Juan Jesus. Chased down by Deulofeu. Wanted a foul, but Perotti won it cleanly. Strong pass. Dzeko wasn't convinced it was for him. Suso. Bertolacci. Into the middle now, Suso trying to get past De Rossi. The sliding challenge from the Roma captain. Perotti. Well, that has been the man in all the papers of late. Monchi, the former Sevilla sporting director. An innovator when it comes to scouting. With just 15 scouts around the world, he built himself quite the network for more than a decade, constructing and deconstructing title-winning sides, trophy-winning sides for Sevilla. Now looking to do the same for Roma and owner James Palota. Celebrated as much as any player they could sign. Bertolacci threaded through, and on the ground was Manolas to cut out the chance for Pasalic. Well, the pass for Suso, and
maybe should have looked.
Probably. Sosa looking, but not able to find it. Vangioni. Flicked on, but in the wrong direction. Nearly give it away to Salah. Zapata gets it back for Donnarumma. That first half felt 15 minutes long.
Yes, incredible tension and drama, end-to-end stuff, and Roma would have already gotten the real insurance goal had it not been for Donnarumma. Pushed 2 shots off the post.
I typically ask you around this time what was the best of the first half, but clearly Dzeko and Donnarumma.
Absolutely.
So I won't ask. Here's Deulofeu. Again, working on his preferred right side. Swung in, looking for Bertolacci.
And no one attacking the far post.
Carried away by Emerson.
There's an island there. No Milan players around. Just that run at the near post. But other than that, very inviting ball from Deulofeu. That's the position he played at Everton. On that right wing.
Suso's delivery, edge of the 6-yard box. Lapadula is whistled for the foul.
Probably the only way you're going to create the distance against these Roma defenders. Aerial battles is there's that little pull off, push. And Fazio as well.
Salah into the middle. Dzeko intuitive to try and find Salah. Milan have been as high as 3rd place in the Serie A campaign, but that was all the way back in week 19. Roma have been steadily 2nd since match day 8. They dropped provisionally down to 3rd ahead of this match after Napoli got all 3 points yesterday. But if it's not much of a contest for the Scudetto, that 2nd and 3rd spot between Roma and Napoli will be exciting down the wire. Svangioni was impeded by Paredes. You can see the wheels turning. From Montella. Sosa punched away by Chesney. Good switch to find Suso. Working against Emerson, who's taking the ball away from the Spaniard. Pace has just settled down slightly as Roma in more defensive shape for the start of this 2nd half.
And you think that they'll stay there for the remainder of this game. No reason to break out now. Milan haven't shown the ability to really test them in the final third.
For Pasalic, it's driven hard into the 6, but Bertolacci didn't know much about it until it hit him in the head. Missing some key pieces of that backline, Milan. Most of all, Alessio Romagnoli, who is sidelined with a knee problem. Also, Luca Antonelli has an unspecified muscle problem, and he's one who could fill in at the fullback positions. Of course, Ignazio Abate is done for the season, as is Jack Bonaventura, who for so long has been the creative engine.
5 starters you just named. Well, maybe questions about Antonelli. He's more of a fringe starter, alternating with either Abate or De Sciglio, but the rest, especially Jack Bonaventura, Milan's best performer when he was fit, along with Suso.
Kucka, who is absent through suspension.
And I feel like this is the perfect game for Kucka to sort of match that intensity and strength in the middle of the park. Can't even imagine what a collision between Nainggolan and Kucka would look like.
We've seen 2 trains collide. Paredes, who is fouled by Pasalic.
For some reason, Montella hasn't been totally sold on Kucka. A few matches that he's benched him where I thought that maybe he would have been useful, but
it was Mihailovic who was enamored with him, called him a tank in football boots.
I think that's an accurate description.
Bertolacci won't get there. 3 straight seasons now that Roma have had a breakout player on the back line. 3 seasons back, it was Manolas who impressed so much, especially with his speed. Last year, you saw, well, I would say as well, Rudiger last year made a huge improvement, and this year, Fazio.
And they've made a habit of selling center backs for a lot of money. Mehdi Benatia to Bayern Munich, Marquinhos to Paris Saint-Germain, Romagnoli, who was on loan at Sampdoria last year, but he was owned by Roma and then sold off to Milan. Of course, the player that they're really missing in that back line, Romagnoli, is such a classy defender, maybe more in the mold of Andrea Barzagli than a Chiellini. But good distribution as well.
Deulofeu's pass deflected away from Pasalic, throw in for Milan. Single goal will get Milan right back in this. Angolan unable to trap the ball, difficult to control as Paletta who finds Zapata. Banjoni. How's he fared against Mohamed Salah so far?
Well, he's had a few troubles, not just against Salah, but against Emerson. It was his chested ball down that led to the first goal from Dzeko. He's been beaten one-on-one by Emerson, which led to a very dangerous cross in the box.
There's Bertolacci.
It was going to be a tough task for Banjoni, as it is for most left-backs coming up against Roma.
Banjoni tried to go through the legs of De Rossi. The pass from Daniele De Rossi finds Rajan Angolan. Pass was on for Perotti. Perotti against De Sciglio. Squeezes it through, but straight to the hands of Donnarumma. It looks as though Perotti's asking for the substitution. Banjoni. Bertolacci.
Haven't been able.
Reach Deulofeu.
Yeah, haven't been able to get Deulofeu involved whatsoever.
There he is again. Suso. Leaves it for Pasalic. But there's still Bertolacci chipped in, looking for Lapadula. And it's Emerson who is fouled by Lapadula.
Yeah, it's difficult. He's just committed a bunch of fouls inside the box. Lapadula hasn't able to win one of those aerial battles. He had a few attempts to get him the ball. He was onside.
And you can see that Kiko Perotti just walking around. He was limping a moment ago. He's ready to be subbed out of this one and will be the first substitution for Roma. Yellow card for Lapadula as he gets his third in Serie A. Brilliant ball, loaded floor for Dzeko. Zapata is tripped up by the Bosnian. Pulled back. And so it will be Stefan El Shaarawy, the former Milan man, to check in as he'll replace Diego Perotti.
Like for like, no real change. Left winger coming on for another. El Shaarawy, who really made his career at Milan before all those foot injuries. He had that wonderful season where he scored 16 goals as a teenager. Then injuries really plagued and just halted his career for a bit. Time in Monaco didn't work, and Roma took a chance on him and paid off.
Paid 13 million euro to bring the little Pharaoh over. We talked about this last week when we covered the Derby della Capitale. El Shaarawy got this start, but it seemed more of a match for Perotti because there wasn't that much space to operate. Today, it's quite the opposite. Perotti started, and it seems more of a match for El Shaarawy because there is space to counter. Angolan, clear down his Pasalic, should play allowed to continue. Oof. Sliding in hard. As Rizzoli is over to Taco De Sciglio, he's just taken down his former teammate El Shaarawy.
Yeah, those two know each other well. And De Sciglio, hardly a player that goes in with malicious intent. Ooh, that was a dangerous challenge, though. Reckless from De Sciglio.
Pasalic felt he was fouled by Fazio. 30 minutes left. An Edin Dzeko brace goals in the 8th and 28th minute. Restarted via Emerson. Dzeko. El Shaarawy wanted to switch. It's De Rossi who finds Nainggolan. Paredes does find El Shaarawy. Nice ball movement as Deulofeu bamboozled. This is El Shaarawy. It's deflected.
That's his bread and butter. That's what El Shaarawy loves doing, cutting in on his right foot, going for that curling finish. Seen him score a lot of those with Milan.
Lapadula fighting against the much bigger Federico Fazio. Dummied through nicely by Pasalic to create space for Deulofeu. Options inside of the area, but Deulofeu closed down by a swarm of defenders. Suso turning on the style points against Raja Nainggolan.
So good in those tight spaces, Suso, but just hasn't been able to get close enough to goal to actually try to test Szczesny. I think he might be dropping back a bit too deep. Something Berlusconi, I remember, said earlier in the season that Montella wasn't getting it right with Suso.
Chip forward for Bertolacci.
Wanted to see Suso almost as a second striker.
And Bertolacci and Manolas. Tempers flaring over.
As Manolas is a player that gets a bit chippy with a line. It's very aggressive. Wonder if there was a little bit of an elbow here on Bertolacci, who's usually mild-mannered himself, so it's not the kind of player we've seen really blow up easily.
Rizzoli wants to have a word with Fazio as well. Yellow card for both Manolas and Bertolacci. Fazio gets it wide for Juan Jesus. His own personal derby de la Madonnina, the former Interman. Nainggolan, the intended target, a push onto the back of Jose Sosa. Free kick for Milan. And the only player to test Szczesny so far was Jose Sosa, trying to surprise the Roma goalkeeper with a long-distance shot. There's the iced ankle of Diego Perotti. Deulofeu has been kept on the periphery by this Roma defense. Looking against Juan Jesus. And it's won back by the Brazilian. This is good defending. Same from Jose Sosa. Clever touch from De Rossi. De Rossi. Emerson. Dzeko into space for Salah, who's got to step on Zapata. Zapata going to ground, timed it nicely as Paletta gets it away.
Milan in the second half not even coming close to getting a chance on target. Roma have been so good defensively, organized, not giving us space inside the box. They force things out wide, and even out wide, they're not able to get the space to whip the ball in. Deulofeu's been largely anonymous. Suso, yes, he's had a few nice tricks to beat his defender, but the end product, nothing of note.
Here's Carlos Bacca, who's warming up. And Lapadula getting a third consecutive start ahead of the Colombian. Salah hands it in for Raja Nainggolan. Heavy touch from the Belgian. Does fall for Emerson. Emerson inside of the area. And it's denied by Donnarumma.
Clash between Paletta and Jose Sosa, both going to ground, leaving a big space for Roma to exploit inside the box.
Deulofeu. Bertolacci. Suso. Sliding challenge from behind by De Rossi. He got the ball. Might have also gotten the shoulder of Suso, but Pizzoli immediately pointing at the ball.
No appeal either from the Spaniard.
That's an excellent ball for Dzeko, who's on a hat trick. It's Edin Dzeko. And he got his shot all kinds of wrong.
The first real mistake that Dzeko's made. Just scuffs it. It's on his weaker left foot. Paletta, you see, he's not even really able to keep up with Dzeko in a foot race.
Abdullah whistled for the foul. As he takes down Manolas, who will take his time to get up. Wasn't a lot in that. Rest of the way for Milan this season, they'll see them travel to Bergamo to take on Atalanta, and at home against Bologna before closing out the Serie A season away at Cagliari. Roma, another tough game ahead as they'll be hoping Juve don't clinch the Scudetto next week on their home pitch as Roma-Juve face off next week Sunday at the Stadio Olimpico. They'll be away against Chievo and at home against Genoa to close out the season.
Yeah, this was really a must-win for Roma, given the rest of their schedule. Of course, Juve next week. They don't want to put it in the hands of Napoli. This win, they'd still be 1 point ahead of Napoli for second place, so it would be in their hands to finish in that position.
El Shaarawy leading his way through. Paletta sets up the roadblock. This is Pasalic. Deulofeu. Suso. Bertolacci, all kinds of space, and has Mangione near side. Bertolacci! Off the mark.
All the time in the world to measure this shot. And again, though, all the chances coming from way outside the box. Bertolacci hits this one beautifully well. This is full power. Nowhere near the target, though.
And it's not Carlos Bacca, but Lucas Ocampos who will check in as replaces Mangione.
Back three.
Signals a shape shift.
Should be De Sciglio, Zapata, and Paletta now the back three. It's a look that Montella's gone with. He's been down in games and wants to be a bit more offensive. Yeah, there you see it's just the three defenders now with De Sciglio. Won't have the same license to get forward as he did before.
And there's some space here for Deulofeu, with Lapadula making the run. Deulofeu to Lapadula, who's denied by Manolas, collected by Chesney.
Good positioning from Manolas, staying in front of Lapadula, closing down the angle along with Chesney. I think it was the right ball from Deulofeu. Obviously, that's the target he wanted at the near post. Just covered expertly well from Costas Manolas.
And Mangione had picked up a yellow card early in the second half.
It's been a bit of an enigma. Lucas Ocampos, so much hype and potential from an early age, but never really realized it. Hasn't realized it at Milan either. Just very inconsistent performances. His decision-making, final touch.
Here's another chance for Ocampos. Still torn, working against Emerson. It's Lucas Ocampos. Where's that decision-making?
I'm not sure what that was. Either way, not the best way to endear yourselves to San Siro faithful as your first touch.
He's on loan from Marseille, Lucas Ocampos, even though he played the first half of the season on loan at Genoa. It's Nainggolan who is favoring his left calf or ankle.
Player that hasn't gotten too much time.
Speaking of Marseille and French football, it's Clément Grenier, who's on loan from Lyon.
He's got a wicked shot from distance. Had so many injury problems, though, that really derailed his career. This is about 6-7 years ago. He was one of the most interesting French prospects as a teenager. All the talk was about Grenier, but he's barely played any football in just the last 3 years. So many injuries back to back to back. And now just trying to get more consistent time and stay healthy, but a real set-piece specialist. Technical midfielder.
Spent the entirety of his career at Lyon. He's product of that much heralded Milan Academy. And this is his first experience away from his hometown club. And he's about to check in for just his 5th Serie A appearance.
More of a natural.
Limps off with an apparent calf problem.
More of a natural trequartista, of course, than Nainggolan. Completely different characteristics.
So the second substitution for Luciano Spalletti after bringing on El Shaarawy at the hour mark. It's Grenier who comes on for the injured Raja Nainggolan in the 72nd. Still a 2-goal lead for the Giallorossi. And it could be more. Here's Salah. Excellent first touch. Zapata recovers well. Played into space for Ocampos. Emerson. Nods it past Bertolacci. One back by Sosa. Ocampos. Jose Sosa. Bertolacci. Trying to get a step on Grenier. The first intervention from the Frenchman, a foul. Quickly restarted. This is Ocampos working against Emerson. Crossed in this time, looking for Lapadula. Ocampos.
Does have a big physique. Ocampos is about 6'1", strong physically. You saw him just holding off Salah. It's a better ball than his first touch of the game. Trying to find Lapadula inside the box, who's just him against the 2 center backs. It's always going to be a difficult outing.
Dzeko. Line for El Shaarawy. Has the support of Juan Jesus. Paredes. Smart ball to find El Shaarawy. Grenier. De Rossi. Fazio. Manolas. Manolas plays it behind Emerson. You alluded to it earlier, but quite a positive performance from Emerson. Maybe won't stand out as much as Edin Dzeko, who scored a couple of goals, but he's been solid going forward and in defense. And back by De Rossi off of Bertolacci. This is Emerson with a chance to get forward. The fresh legs of Lucas Ocampos giving chase. Dzeko. Plays like he has a force field around him. El Shaarawy gets to Shilio. El Shaarawy measuring up. Parried by Donnarumma. And nearly falls for Mohamed Salah.
Loves that little move there. El Shaarawy. You have to go back to De Rossi. It's his defensive interventions which have helped so much Roma, breaking up attacks from Milan.
This is Suso. Has Deulofeu wide if he wants him. Gerard Deulofeu. Tried to squeeze it through, deflected by Juan Jesus.
There's no way forward. Every time Milan do get into the final third, they get it out wide and every single space is closed off. Really seem to lack the same sort of dynamism Milan, especially in the midfield. Really could use a more prototypical box-to-box midfielder.
Here's Lapadula trying to turn against Manolas. Positive touch from De Rossi just to take it away from Lapadula.
Dare I say, a player like Frank Kessie. Of course, believe the rumors, there's major links there with Milan and Roma.
Everyone wants to shop in Bergamo these days. Square ball in for Lapadula. And it is a corner kick. It was last touched by Manolas. Quarter of an hour left to play. Swinger near post is there for Bosilic! And then Chelsea Loney has pulled one back for Milan. A quarter of an hour left. Milan 1, Roma 2. There's life in the Rossoneri.
And a massive boost here. The stadium, you see, finally gets the fans on their feet. So many corners for Milan. Finally one goes their way. And it's that little nod on at the near post from Lucas Ocampos, which is terrific. 2 options at the far post. See all the Roma defenders convening towards where the ball was initially hit.
Defense on their feet.
Two men covering Lapadula, but who forgot Pasalic there at the far post? Seems it was Emerson, just let him slip through behind him. Suddenly, game on.
Emerson has to snatch it away from Zapata, smartly back to Donnarumma. Down by Paredes, run back by Bertolacci. Ocampo's making the run. Ocampo's working against Manolas. Lapadula into the area. So Ocampos on his bike. Ocampos squared in. And it couldn't be controlled by Suso.
And just listen to the stadium now. Raucous atmosphere. Ocampos gets the better of Manolas. It was a good ball in. And this is going to be entertaining now as Roma have to break out of their defensive shell. It's only a 1-goal lead now.
And Salah is taken down.
It's exactly what the game needed. The pace really being picked up end to end.
Lucas Ocampos picks up a yellow card. That will mean an automatic 1-game suspension for accumulation. So he'll miss out away at Atalanta next week.
Oh, tough matchup in Bergamo, that one for Milan.
He's got his first assist in the Milan shirt. Dzeko batted down for El Shaarawy, settled El Shaarawy!
And he won't celebrate against his former club, but he's smiling on the inside. It's Milan 1, Roma 3. Batted down by Edin Dzeko, deposited by the little Pharaoh.
Classy touch there from El Shaarawy, club that gave him so much. But this is the other side of Edin Dzeko. Use him as a tower if you have to. And ball intended towards him. Knew he couldn't chest it down, but he did have that option behind him in El Shaarawy. That is the perfect header down to tee up El Shaarawy. Right foot, side-footed finish. That's how he gets all of his goals. Picks out a gem in the top corner. Makes it look far too easy. He's been wanting that curling effort time and time again today since coming on for Peralti. The little Pharaoh does it again here at the San Siro.
His fifth of the Serie A season. After Pasalic got his fifth. There's Pasalic. Sosa. Again, the no-look pass here. He probably should have looked. Well, the last time that Milan did beat Roma, it was thanks in part to a goal by a Chelsea loanee. In that case, it was Marco van Ginkel. Today it's the Chelsea own Mario Pasalic, but still a tough job to do. Is immediately deflated after halving the deficit. Back to a 2-goal lead for Roma.
Poor showing from Deulofeu. These are the kind of matches where maybe you sense that stereotype of Deulofeu when things aren't going well. Is he going to be the one to lift the team, carry them on his shoulders? Some really poor balls from João Deulofeu, both from the corner and from those wide positions.
Paletta just puts it out of play, throw in for Roma. This is a brilliant response for Roma after that derby loss at the Stadio Olimpico. Grenier, nice cut inside Grenier. As Dzeko had lost his footing. The difference between second and third, and you can ask Roma all about it. They finished third behind Napoli last season, so played the Champions League qualifying round as opposed to going straight into the group stages. And got a good result away in Portugal against Porto, 1-1 in the first leg, but then losing 3-0 at home until Thomas Vermaelen was sent off early. And he parachuted down into the Europa League, where did well to knock off Villarreal in the round of 32 before crashing out against Lyon in the last 16. For Milan, it's been quite a wait for Europe. For their standards, the most successful continental club in Italy. They've not played in the Champions League since 2013-2014. And they were knocked out by the runners-up Atletico Madrid in the last 16. That season saw them finish 8th in Serie A, so they missed out on Europe. Went on to finish 10th and 7th. Currently 6th, which would be a Europa League qualifying berth, because the two teams in the Coppa Italia are headed to Europe.
And that qualifying berth starts very early in the summer. Tricky fixtures have to go to grounds of teams that, well, play a very different style of football, and the grounds might not be up to par either. This one can give a lot of headaches as well.
Dzeko, strong in the air. Emerson, Salah with a bit of space working against Paletta. He's gotten in behind Zapata, squared in. That's a poor effort from Grenier, and Salah did not find the target.
Just a poor control from Grenier. It doesn't seem like he even went for goal. Almost inadvertently plays the 1-2.
And substitution remaining for Spalletti. It looks as though Bruno Peres will be the man to be brought on.
It comes off of his foot.
Here's Grenier. Swinging toward the penalty spot. He was attacked by Fazio. Paredes. It's the right idea, but poor execution, trying to find El Shaarawy. Here's Deulofeu working against De Rossi. Excellent first touch into space for Gerard Deulofeu. Squared in across the 6-yard box, but there's Chesney. Sure-handed.
It's more like it from Deulofeu, using his pace to blow by De Rossi. Decent ball delivered in low and hard. I think Milan finally realized that those high crosses from wide positions were not working against the towers of Roma. Started placing all these corners, just driving them in very low.
Shaarawy given away. Run back by Fazio. Lapadula running like it's the 3rd minute, not the 83rd. Emerson. Oh, Roma will make their 3rd and final substitution. And it's Edin Dzeko, the hero of this one, with 2 goals. This substitution is brought to you by McDonald's as Bruno Peres steps in for Edin Dzeko. Dzeko now just 2 goals away from catching Roma's all-time record for a single season. It was Rodolfo Volk. Back in 1931, he scored 29 goals in Serie A, and it still stands as a single-season record for the Giallorossi. Rodolfo Volk, who is still the 3rd all-time leading scorer for Roma. And then Dzeko looking to etch his name into the record books. Already a personal best. There's Suso. Left it behind Ocampos. Bruno Peres. Grenier, tricky Frenchman. Says the Brazilian Bruno Peres, sends it wide for El Shaarawy. Won't get there. Those 2 Spaniards. Remember, Vincenzo Montella has been referenced as a Spanish-style coach. The Italian has been Suso and Deulofeu. Most games we've gotten it done, but credit to Roma's defense today. Well played forward, and Manolas.
Great job.
Is there to deny Lapadula.
Just nothing. And Lapadula's been moving around constantly, trying to make runs that invite the ball towards him. It's been snuffed out every single time by Fazio and Manolas, who have been excellent today.
Suso and Deulofeu were, by the way, teammates on that Spanish under-19 side that won the European under-19 championship. Included quite a few players who are breaking out as stars in European football. That includes Saúl Ñíguez of Atletico Madrid, Bernat of Bayern Munich, Denis Suarez and Paco Alcácer, who are currently at Barcelona. Suso and Deulofeu, 2 of the leaders on that side. Under Lopetegui. The foul whistled against Bertolacci. Either way, it would have been a throw-in for Roma.
Back-breaking goal that was from El Shaarawy, especially when you sense that the tide was really turning against Roma.
Here's Salah, and the flag has stayed down, working against Paletta. Salah. Mohamed Salah gets Donnarumma to go to ground, tripped up. Rizzoli. And it's a straight red for Gabi Paletta. Sent off for the 4th time this season.
twice straight reds, twice with second yellows. With 5 minutes left, a penalty for Roma, and 10 men the rest of the way for Milan.
Well, that's just about it. Final nail in the coffin. Seemed like Salah was onside originally. Twists and turns Paletta. Hard to see where the contact is from behind. Seems like he just got, it's going to be the best look at it.
When you see him swing out, this will be a better view. He swings that left leg. There's not a lot there.
No, there's not much. I think Salah just made a meal out of that one. And it worked. I thought originally.
Here's Daniele De Rossi. Well, Donnarumma got a glove on it, but it's a fourth for Roma. And it's the Giallorossi's captain who puts an exclamation point on what is surely a victory for the capital club. Milan 1, Roma 4.
Oh, the penalty, even if it seemed a bit harsh for Milan, it's not going to change much. Thoroughly dominant display from Roma. Donnarumma gets the slightest touch onto it. He's already had 2 heroics in this game. That time he wasn't able to push that ball off the post, as he already did twice in this game. Wasn't the best penalty from De Rossi, not angled to perfection. That's why Donnarumma was able to get a touch on.
And Donnarumma has been a good penalty stopper so far. He's faced 9 penalties this season as Monchi looks on. He saved 2 of them. Could not keep this one out. Jose Sosa makes way, the third and final substitution for Milan, and it's a defender. It's a substitution brought to you by McDonald's is Gustavo Gomez, who steps in. First half brace by Edin Dzeko, who set up the third to El Shaarawy in the second half. De Rossi from the spot has made it 4.
Bruno Perez wide open. Oh, not spotted.
El Shaarawy rolls it back. Manolas. Milan will be back in action next week in a visit to Atalanta. Roma at home against Juve in a match that, should Juve win, could seal the title for the old lady.
Well, it's going to go down to the wire for second and third place. Major implications. And Milan, if they do finish 6, really won't have been because of their last gasp form.
Suso, out of frustration as much as anything else, tries to toe poke that goal bound. Puts the Juve season in perspective when you consider this is one of, points-wise at least, Roma's best ever seasons. Only twice before had they ever reached this stage of the campaign with 75 points or more. And they'll go into the final 3-game stretch with 78.
And then with Monchi in the wings, it's a very exciting summer lined up. You figure there's going to be a lot of changes as obviously Monchi will work with Spalletti to further build the team that Monchi said himself will become one of the elites in European football.
There's Ocampos. Deulofeu able to get a foot on it, but it's kept possession alive for Milan. Bertolacci. Suso. Lapadula leaves it for Suso. Lapadula fighting his way through. Paredes coolly out the other side. Salah, space to run into. Forward for Bruno Perez. Trying to square it in. Gustavo Gomez was there to make the block. Interesting substitution for Montella. Down 4-1. I guess he needed a defender because they were playing with that back 3.
Yeah.
Gustavo Gomez checking in for Gabi Paletta. And that will do it. Milan 1, Roma 4. A masterful performance.